Today, we're going to dive into part two of our series about are you showing up in your business or are you just along for the ride? So, today for part two, we're going to talk about taking action. Last week, we talked about being present as the face of your business and really just showing up. And also just recognizing that maybe there are some fears getting in our way that are keeping us from doing things like showing up and taking action. But today we're going to really focus on the whole idea of taking action in your business. And this is something that is, it's very near and dear to my heart. And as a coach and as an educator, it is something that really is the difference. And being a great business owner and being successful and not. I will say, in all reality, the difference between people that do amazing things in their business and the people that don't, or that the people who do amazing things in their businesses are ready and willing to take action, no matter how scary it might feel in the moment. So if you're sitting there going, this is me, I am guilty, I do not take action, this one is for you. And if you think you're taking action, I want you to listen to this too, because you might be surprised that there are some ways that maybe you're not really actually taking action the way you should be. The first thing I want to tell you is that when it comes to taking action, typically the best action to take is the scariest pathway. If something feels scary or hard or big, it probably means it's the right decision and what you should be doing. The things that are easy to do and the things that are like no brainer, yeah, sure, I got this, no big deal, those normally aren't going to move the needle very much in your business. So when it comes to taking action, I want you to know and be okay with the fact that sometimes taking the right steps of action are scary and uncomfortable. And oftentimes you're going to feel resistance when you take action, and that is okay. I'll say that the more resistance you feel means that the results will be bigger. So when you feel that resistance, I want you to lean into it and say, I am good. Resistance is good. I need to lean into the resistance and I need to know that I'm making the right decision, which is why I feel the resistance. If you're sitting there in the background lurking, stop. Stop sitting there in the background lurking. Stop saying that you aren't ready. Stop saying that your work isn't good enough. Stop saying that your business isn't ready. The only way that you will learn and get better is by going out there and taking action. I promise that no matter how not ready you feel, you are more ready than I was when I started my business. You're probably more ready than I was the first few years of my business in all reality. Just by sitting here listening to this podcast, you have more knowledge than I did when I was getting started. When I was getting started and I started my business, I literally watched some YouTube videos. I learned how to use my camera in manual mode. And I said, I'm going to be a photographer. I'm starting a business. I think I can make money doing this. That was my thought. It was either like I go back to school and I get my master's degree and I go on to be a professor or something, or I don't know what I was going to do, honestly. Or I started a business and I figured out how to make money without having to go back to school. I had an animal science degree. I was in my last semester of college, getting ready to graduate a semester early. And I was like at a crossroad. What I thought I wanted to do my whole life, I realized I didn't really want to do it. I realized that I didn't want to be in school for a lot of years. I could have if I wanted to do it, but I was like, I don't want to be in school for that long. And then I was like, maybe I'll just go get my master's or something, spend a couple more years in school. And I was like, I just don't know. I don't know if it's for me. And I just was like, I would love to just go out, start my life, make some money, have a business. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. That is the one thing I always knew. I literally sat in my apartment one day when I was in college. I made a Facebook page. I put my shingle out there and said, hi, I'm a photographer. My first paid client was actually the Vietnamese Student Association at Texas A&M University. They hired me to do photos of their officer team, and I think they paid $250 for a session. My second paid client was actually a wedding, and I don't even know how much money they paid. I don't think I want to remember. But it was a couple that was getting married. They were just gonna put Polaroid cameras out on the tables, and someone was like, Corinna, your pictures are good. We've seen what you're doing. Do you want to come photograph this wedding? We'll help you get your foot in the door and do these weddings and this wedding to start out with, and then maybe you will decide you want to do weddings. And I did. I went and shot this wedding. I had no idea what I was doing. I had an amazing wedding planner that kind of stepped in and was like, here's what you need to take pictures of. And I watched a bunch of creative lives and I went and did the thing. I literally just put myself out there and I launched into the world of being a photographer. I was not ready. I did not know what I was doing. I had a really sweet photographer who's been in the industry for, I don't know, 20, 30 years that pulled me aside and was like, hey, don't give away your digital files. Don't charge pennies for your work. Here's my price list. You should be charging for prints. You should be charging for wall art. And it clicked and I understood that I should be charging for things. But like, I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was doing. I remember sitting there making my first price list and putting on my first price list $35 for an 8x10 and feeling like that was crazy. My 8x10s are now $195. That's crazy. But $35 was not crazy, which it felt like at the time. I remember sitting there with my now husband and looking at pricing and pricing products and stuff and trying to figure out how to offer products to my clients in those early years, literally not having a clue where to start and going, this is crazy. Who's going to spend $300 for a canvas? And now we laugh and we're like, wow, if we would have known then what we know now. How much more money could you have made if you had the knowledge you had now 10 years ago when you started this business? How much more money could you have made if you had the knowledge to go charge these prices to provide this experience? When instead you spent the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, like really not making much money, working your butt off, working for free sometimes. Right? If I would have had this knowledge then, yeah, it would have been cool. But I wouldn't be where I am now if I wouldn't have just taken the action and done the thing and put myself out there into the world as a photographer and said, here I am, here's what I do. You are ready. You are ready right here in this very moment. And the only way you're going to get better is just by putting yourself out there and doing it and trying, and you're going to fail. Be honest. You're going to learn more from your failures than you do your success. You're going to learn more from being told no than you will learn from being told yes. And if you haven't been told no yet in your business, there's a chance you haven't learned some hard lessons yet. The only way to get better at your photography skills, your posing, your lighting, is by photographing people, by posing people, by lighting people. The only way you're going to get better at doing black background portraits is by photographing horses on black backgrounds and doing it a lot and doing it often. If you're out there doing one session a month, it's going to be real hard to get good at what you're doing. You have to do it. You have to take action. You have to get the people through your door. You have to do it over and over again and practice, but also be paid while you're practicing, because you can and should be paid while you're practicing and learning and growing still. Doing the thing is going to help concrete the ideas into your head, because if you're just learning and you're never doing, you're not going to know what the learning looks like in all practicality. It's like those of you that have gone to college, you know that the things you learn in college aren't necessarily things that we use in the real world. So once you get into the real world and your real job that you had that college degree for, you're like, oh man, some of that stuff I learned, maybe it's not adequate or accurate for where I'm at, or maybe it doesn't work for me, but maybe I can adjust it, make it work for me. But those things you don't learn until you're out in the real world, until you're doing the thing. So start doing the thing while you're learning. You don't have to have A through Z lined out to take action. You just have to take step A. doing the thing will concrete the ideas and the things you need to be doing into your head. If you're just sitting there learning without implementing, you're probably just overwhelming yourself. And you're really just like sitting there with the tornado of ideas and all of these things you should be doing and could be doing, but no direction to put them into because you've never done the thing. Now, this doesn't mean that you should stop learning. You will always be a learner in your business. You will always be a learner. You will always be growing, whether it's in your business or your personal life. But what I'm going to tell you is that when you're a learner and you're learning your business and learning photography, you need to learn, take the time to process and implement what you're learning before you move on to the next thing. Because you don't want to activate this hurricane or tornado of ideas in your head that is spiraling and leading to that sense of overwhelm that you might be feeling. And the excuse and the reason you're saying you can't take action and do the thing and put yourself out there because you have all these ideas and you need to do all these things and they're not perfect yet. And if you're sitting here and you're like stuck in this whole idea of not taking the steps to implement and not taking action, then I'm going to challenge you to dig into those fears or those excuses that you're using to not take action. So if this stings a little bit and this is hitting some sour spots, take some time and just ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid of these things? And really, should I be afraid of this? So what? So what if I fail? So what if it doesn't work? So what if somebody's disappointed because they can't afford me? So what if I make a lot of money and my family's, dang, she makes a lot of money now. She's not like us anymore. So what? If your family or friends do that to you, then they're not your real people. They should be excited for you, right? Start to dig into these fears and these worries and these excuses and really just start to strip them away. Because that is going to be the first thing you need to do to really find success in being a business owner and building your business, is you need to learn how to deal with those worries and fears and excuses. My question for you is, what is the worst thing that will happen if you put yourself out there? What is the worst thing that will happen if you start taking on clients and maybe the system isn't perfect? What is the worst thing that will happen if you get on an info call and your script falls short and the client tells you no? What is the worst thing that can happen if the client doesn't buy that giant piece of wall art that you put on your price list? So what if you put it on your price list and they don't buy it? Who cares? Put it on your price list anyway. So what would happen if you started doing IPS and you started offering to help your clients put art on their walls? The worst that can happen is they say, I don't want art on my walls. And if they do, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They might not want art for their home. So what? What if you do these things and they don't work? Nothing happened. Nobody's going to come out of the woodwork and be like, oh my goodness, you're a failure. Look at this. This is a joke. No. And if they do, then they're a toxic person and they need to be removed from your life and you need to give them a big fat kick to the curb. If you put yourself out there and you do the scary thing and you fail, you're the only one that knows you failed. But I can guarantee you, even if you fail, you learned something from it. So put yourself out there and take action. Do the things you need to do today. If you've been planning to launch your business for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, I'm going to tell you right now, today is the day that ends. Like, I am being like brutally honest with you. If you've been planning to launch your business for months or even years, that ends today. You're going to go out there, you're going to launch your business, you're going to stay up all night tonight, and build a simple website and put your Facebook pages out there and put your images out there on social media and say, here I am a photographer, I am a business owner. Just go do it. Go launch your business today. Put yourself out there, show up, be okay with the fact that you can continue to grow and be better as you build your business. But if you never start, you will never grow. You bought a seed, you bought a bag of seeds from the store to make that garden, to plant those vegetables you wanted to grow. But if you don't ever put the seeds in the ground and water them, how are you going to know if they're going to grow or not? If you've been planning on launching your business for months or years, all you did was go to the store and buy a bag of seeds, and you sat there and stared at them and you said, I don't know if these are going to work. I don't know if these seeds are going to grow. You know what? These seeds could be bad. Why did I? I should just not plant them. I'm not going to know if they're going to grow. So let's just stare at them for a while. Maybe if I stare at them and I talk nice to them and I'm super sweet to them, they'll grow. But that's not the reality. You're not going to know if they're going to grow till you plant the seeds and water them and do the work. Now, there's a chance you plant the seeds the first time and they don't grow. But then you go and you learn and you become better and you plant the seeds again and again and you keep working at it until they grow. And that's business. That's life. You didn't learn how to ride a bicycle by just taking off the first time, I'm going to ride a bike. No, you had to learn. You had to crash a few times. You had to fall down. You had to scrape your knee and you had to get back up and say, I can do it. In all reality, if you know how to use a camera, you know how to take in-focus pictures or relatively in-focus pictures. Your clients don't know if they're in focus, to be honest with you. You can be fully functional as a business owner in the next 30 days. Actually, you could be fully functional as a business owner tomorrow if you decided you wanted to be. The only thing stopping you is just deciding that you are a legitimate business owner and you're going to put yourself out there and take action to do the things you need to do. All you really need is a camera, business license, a sales tax permit, insurance, basic pricing of some extent, and a client experience. You don't need to have a million things done to perfection to start your business. You just really need to get the legal things lined out so that you're in compliance, obviously. And pricing, basic pricing. Price out some mounted prints. Price out a canvas from White House Custom Color, right? Basic pricing, and you need a client experience. You need to know how to take your clients to an amazing experience and solve their problems and serve them. That's what you need. And also, this means that you're going to stop saying that photography is just a hobby or something you do on the side, or it's not a real business, it's just fun. And you need to start to say, I am the owner of a photography studio and I run my business like a CEO. I am a CEO. I'm not just a photographer. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about stepping into the role of being a business owner and treating your business like a business. Y'all, I am the perfect example of just jumping off the cliff and taking action. When I launched my equine photography brand, I had done weddings and babies for 5 years at the time. And I had a separate wedding brand and a separate newborn brand. We had built a newborn studio on our property. When I was photographing newborns in the studio, I was also doing weddings, photographing normally one wedding a month. No more than that. I was a one wedding a month kind of girl. They were too stressful to do more than that. And then I would have 3 or 4 newborns a month. I would have engagement sessions, bridal portraits, those things throughout. And I literally was on a trip to Kentucky. I was driving around. I just drove for hours, literally for hours on end, and thinking about this, and the ripple effect of just taking action and doing the big scary thing. It makes me emotional because if I wouldn't have decided to take action and do the big scary thing that night, I can't imagine where I would be. I literally drove around for hours in horse country and looked at all the horses and was like, this is my heart. Why am I not doing this? This is where I should be. This is what I should be doing. This is what I started out doing. Why the heck am I a wedding photographer? Why am I a baby photographer? Just because my friends are baby photographers and my mentor was a baby photographer? Like, why am I a baby photographer? And I went to my hotel that night and I built an entirely new brand. I built a new website. I made my logo. I did all the things I needed to do to legitimize my business that night. And I put it out there into the world. I posted on social media. I said, I'm a horse photographer now. Look at my new brand. Look at my new website. Like, literally, I pieced together from nothing. I took pictures that I had literally been going around Kentucky taking photos of horses randomly. And I built a website with those photos. And I said, I'm a horse photographer now. I went out the next day and I met up with somebody who I was connected with on social media. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to come meet you and see your farm. I love following your journey on social media. Can we connect while I'm in town? And she invited me to her farm. And I sat there in her office and I said, yeah, I'm launching an equine photography brand. And by the way, I'm going to photograph 365 horses this year and I'm going to share all their stories on my blog. And I just put it out there. And I was like, what did I just tell this lady? I just told this lady I'm going to photograph 365 horses this year. That's insane. And I went back to my hotel that next night and I built out my passion project, 365 Days of Horses. And I essentially built my entire brand on this project that I did. And I photographed 365 horses in the following year that went after that. And I created this brand that I have today. And I created the following that I have today and all these things. And I created this business that I'm wildly passionate about and love. All because I took action. Now, what would have happened if I would have sat there in my hotel room and said, I don't know if I like this logo. I don't know if it's good enough. I don't know if I like this website that I just threw together. It's probably not good enough. If I would have done that, I would have never put it out there to the world. I would have never taken action. I would have never done what I needed to do to build my business. But instead, I took action. I did the big scary thing and I said, here I am. Here's how I'm showing up. Here's who I am as a business owner. I'm legitimate. I'm a big deal. Hey, by the way, I am now a traveling equine photographer because I live in Texas and I'm in Kentucky photographing horses. That's cool, right? Nobody knew. Nobody needed to know. Like, I literally went to Kentucky and then all of a sudden I became an equine photographer overnight because I decided I wanted to be. I legitimized it. I made it a big deal. I said, I am here. I'm serious. I am doing this. And I said, I don't care if it's not perfect, but I'm going to take action and do what I need to do. And I did. For the next year that followed, I took action every single day. Every single interaction, every single thing I did, every breath I took, every word that came out of my mouth oozed this new brand that I was crazy, wildly passionate about. And that's why I'm here today. Because I decided to take action. The reason I'm here on this podcast is not because I sat around and thought, man, I should do a podcast. It would be cool. Let me sit around and let me write out a podcast episode for every week of the year so I know I have something written out. No, it happened because I said, I'm going to do this. I just got to go do the thing. I got to hire the podcast manager. I got to buy the microphone. I got to sit here and I have to talk and I have to share my heart and my soul and my story and my journey. And I know that I can help people. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect. If I make a mistake or I say something wrong, who cares? It's not the end of the world. As long as I do what I need to do to show up, and as long as I share myself in my truest way in a manner that feels good to me, that's what matters. As long as I'm taking the action, showing up, doing what I need to do, it's everything. I want you to think of how you're going to take action, how you're going to show up and take action this week. After you listen to this episode, pop on over in our DMs, send us a message on Instagram at Master Your Mind Money, and let us know how you're going to take action this week, or pop on over into our Facebook group, Photography Business Tune Up. Let us know how you're going to take action this week. What big, scary things are you going to do? Are you ready to stop being a lurker? Are you ready to stop just learning and learning without ever doing? Tell us. We want to hear from you. We want to light a fire underneath your butt and help you go out there and take that action that you need to take. Do the things you need to do. And I promise the results are going to be huge. Make sure that you follow us and keep an eye out. We are hosting an event in March. It's going to be amazing. So keep an eye out and make sure you register for that event in March. We will make sure and put it on social media. We'll send it out to our email list, all that good stuff. So keep an eye out so that you can register for our event and join us there. It's going to be so good. We're going to be talking about how to take your business to the next level, how to grow, how to be more profitable, make more money, and really just go from like that frazzled, overwhelmed state to like a really focused business owner that has a trajectory and has a vision in mind for where they're going and is ready to be paid well. So make sure you keep an eye out for that and you join us there live. It's going to be so good. I can't wait to see your faces there. And I hope you all have an amazing week. And I hope that you're able to take what you've learned today and start to take some action in your business.